friends, Jessie here. Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. I post budgeting and lifestyle content on this channel every single week. If this is the kind of video you're interested in, I suggest that you click the subscribe button so that YouTube can let you know every time I upload a new video. Lately, it's been 5 to 6 videos a week, so lots of fun content headed your way if you click that subscribe button. I'm gonna go ahead right now and apologize for any background noise you hear. I am going to try to edit out a lot of it, but they're tearing down a house just down the road from me. I tried to wait it out and see if they would kind of wrap it up before I filmed this, but I'm running out of time. So I have to go ahead and film this. Hopefully it won't be too distracting for you. Today's video is going to be my expense tracking for the week, as well as my budget check-in. Typically, I film these two videos kind of separate. I do all of the expense tracking in one video, and then I check in with my budget in a separate video. However, we had a very low-key week. We didn't do a lot of spending, so I don't think that tracking my expenses and checking in with my budget is going to take very long. I figure it didn't make sense to do two 10-minute videos when I could just combine everything, do one long video, get it all done. Before I do any of that though, I do want to share with you my April budget worksheets. So we are not quite done with March here on my channel. We still have another full week in my March budget, but I know that April's just around the corner. A lot of you like to get your budgeting done a little bit ahead of time, and with that in mind, I'm gonna go ahead and share my April budget worksheets, what they look like, and how you can get them. So here is a look at the pattern that I chose for April, and actually my channel members chose this pattern. I put up a little poll with a couple of different patterns. This is the one that won, and I think it's perfect for April. The florals, the purple, I'm really into this. If you want to get your own copy of these printable budget worksheets for April, you've got a couple of options. For one, the one that I suggest is joining my channel membership with any of the tiers that have budget in the title. So my budget buddies, join. Once a month you get access to my hybrid budget worksheet, which I'm gonna flip through all of these for you quickly, but I just wanna show you specifically the ones that come for my budget buddies. You get the 2-page hybrid budget. This is what I use to keep track of my budget every single month. It's sort of a hybrid between a monthly budget and a weekly check-in. You've got a place to put all of your monthly expenses, your income, and then you have a place to check in for each week of the month. There's a section to keep track of your sinking funds, any savings, as well as any debt payments that you make. It's a really all-encompassing snapshot of your budget, all at a glance, 1 2-page spread. If you are a budget minimalist and this is all you need, you can do everything on this 1 2-page worksheet. So you get that. If you are one of my budget buddies, you can print it out as many times as you like. Also, all of the previous months that I have put in starting in January are also available, so you can go back and download those as well. It's the same worksheets, just different patterns. The other worksheet that you get access to as a budget buddy is my April savings challenge. So it's just a little savings challenge you can use to keep track of how much you've saved. You can just color in each flower. You can make each flower represent whatever you want. You can put a number amount inside the little circle, or you can just say that each flower is worth $1, whatever. I like to keep these pretty generic. That way you can make it suit your budget. Maybe you have a lot of money to spend, maybe you have a little money to spend, or save rather, I guess. A lot of money to save, little money to save. You can really do it any way you want, and I like that it's a floral theme to sort of match our April budget worksheets. So that's what you get as a budget buddy. You also get access to members only videos and live streams and some other stuff. If you click the join button, it'll pop up a little window that shows you all of the perks that you get with each membership tier. But if you join my budget bestie tier, this is the best value. You get access to all of my budget worksheets. So you will get the April cover page. You will get the 2-page dated calendar. It's all done in this really pretty purple. You can see there, so gorgeous. I have printed mine on nice thick paper. You can print it back to back or individually, however you want. You'll also get the April overview. And then if you don't want to use this in April, or if you want to use this in more than just April, you also get the undated versions of those worksheets. So you get the budget page, the undated calendar, you get a monthly overview, you get a monthly budget worksheet, sinking funds, you get the transaction log worksheet, the paycheck budget, the cash breakdown to help you figure out what you want to pull out of the bank if you are a cash budgeter. You'll get access to the expense tracker. And again, you can print these out as many times as you want. So I like to do a different expense tracker for each week of the month. I can do that, just print it multiple times. There's also a weekly check-in. You do still get access to the 2-page hybrid budget worksheet. And of course, if you are a budget bestie, that's the top tier of my membership, you also get access to the perks of all of the other tiers. So you'll also get that April savings challenge. You'll get a debt tracker, a spending comparison worksheet, a little notes worksheet, and then this fun pattern paper. You can use this to fold it into an envelope, or you can use it as a little back cover, do a little mini budget binder. So yeah, that's what you get with the Budget Bestie tier. It's my best value for your money. Something new that I'm going to try in April, or really it's something old, I'm going to offer these worksheets on Etsy as well. Now, you're still going to get the most bang for your buck if you join my channel membership. You get access to the members only videos, you get access to the members only live streams, you get, you know, you're going to be able to have the little icon next to your name so that I can see that you're a member and I can answer your comments first, you know, that sort of thing. You get all of those perks plus the printable budget worksheets. But I've gotten several requests from people that either don't want to commit to a monthly charge on their credit card or can't, for whatever reason, join the channel membership, whether it be like a glitch with YouTube or whatever, to please put my worksheets back on Etsy. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to try it out for April. And you're going to pay more if you go through Etsy. Etsy fees are pretty exorbitant. Etsy's a pain to work with. It's a lot of work to get the listings written. So you'll still be able to access all of these worksheets on Etsy like I did before. The prices are going to go up a little bit from what I had previously. You won't be able to use discounts. So it's still a better deal to join my membership. But for those that can't or don't want to join my membership, but still want access to my budget worksheets, you will be able to get them. I'm going to offer a bundle with everything undated. I'm going to add a dated add-on like I had before. I'm not going to do the worksheets individually. It's just too many listings. So you'll have to buy it in bundles. And also the April Savings Challenge, this is going to be members only. You won't be able to get access to this unless you are a member. So I will link my Etsy shop down below. We're going to give it a try for April, see how it goes. If I get a lot of sales, then I will continue to post them on Etsy month to month. If I don't have a lot of interest or a lot of sales, then I won't do that again in the future. But since so many of you requested it, I'm going to go ahead and do that. These will be available on Friday, March 29th, I think. Let me just check my calendar really quickly. Yeah, Friday, March 29th in the morning. These will be up for my channel members in the members only section, and they'll also be listed on Etsy. So if you want to grab them, I'll have my link down below. So if you're watching this the day it goes live, tomorrow morning is the day that you will be able to access the April worksheets. So that's that. Now let's go ahead and get into the expense tracking and check in for March week 4. Okay, so I have gone ahead and flipped to an expense tracker here for this week in March. I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and we're just going to start talking about all of my spending from March 19th to the 25th. If this is your first time watching one of my budget videos, I do an overall sort of monthly budget, but then I also check in with my budget weekly. I track all of my expenses for the week, and my budget week starts on Tuesday and goes until Monday. I do that because my husband and I are both paid on Tuesdays, so it just makes the most sense for our budget week to start there. So yeah, March 19th. Oops. Pen doesn't want to work here. Through the 26th. And we did not do a lot of spending this week. If you watched my budget check-in from last week, you know that there's a lot of categories that I have either overspent in. I've already reached the end of my monthly budget in my spending category, for example. And I've come very close to like the end of my budget. We're reaching the end of the month here. Obviously, I want to come in under budget, so those areas in my budget where I was kind of overspending in throughout the month, I tried to be really mindful, not spend a lot in those categories, and just not spend a lot in general. So we don't have a ton of transactions to go through this week. I'm just going to write everything down and categorize it. We're going to highlight it, get some totals, and then I will use the information from this expense tracker to fill in my budget, and we'll check in and see how much money we have left in all of our categories for the last week in the month. My March budget is going to go all the way through until my first paycheck in April, which comes April 2nd. So the 1st of April is going to be included in my March budget. That's just how I choose to do it. So let's go ahead and get started with the 19th. So on the 19th, first day of our budget week, I had ESPN Plus come out, and the category for that is auto pay. So I have a line item in my budget called auto pay for any of the little streaming services and bills that come out of my account automatically. I don't have to think about them. Rather than have a dozen little $12 transactions in my budget, I just combined them all into one line item called auto pay, and I just check in with it every week. So that ESPN Plus was $10.99. On the 19th, I had a Bath and Body Works order come out, and this actually was an order that I had placed prior to the 19th. It was placed the week prior, before I had checked in with my budget and kind of seen how far over budget we already were in our spending category. At that point in time, though, that I realized it was too late for me to cancel this order. It had already been processed, and they charged my card on the 19th for that. So technically the purchase was made last week, but it didn't come out until this week. They don't charge your card until the items ship, you know? So I probably would not have made this order after checking in with my budget last week, but I had already placed the order. Does that make sense? So that was $32.06 from my spending category. I just bought a bunch of wallflowers. Definitely not a need, and not something I would have chosen to do had I realized how much I had already overspent in the spending category. But hindsight's 20/20. Live and learn. There you go. On the 20th, my husband went to Subway for lunch. He and my oldest son. So that came out of our eating out category, and they spent $13.28. Okay, on the 21st, I went to Taco Bell for lunch. This was my day off. Typically on my day off, if I'm out and about, I will run through a drive-through. Not always, but sometimes. So that came out of our eating out budget, and that amount was $20.45. I also got something for my son. On the 23rd, we did our grocery shopping for the week through Walmart, and I tried very hard to be mindful of how much I was spending, only buy what we absolutely needed. I even did a Walmart pickup order rather than having it delivered, so I wouldn't have to pay extra to tip our driver. I was really trying to be mindful about the grocery spending because groceries are one of the areas we constantly overspend in. So this category is grocery. And the amount that I spent was $193.70. You know, if you've been watching my video, that we've been doing like $325 or $350 a week this month in groceries. That includes like pet items and household items and stuff. So $193.70 is actually really, really good for us. I know depending on where you live, you can get groceries cheaper, how large your family is, lots of different things go into a grocery budget. For us though, $193.70 is really good for a week. And then last but not least, I told you guys there were not a lot of transactions this week. I'm really trying. Was Crunchyroll, which is a subscription that my son has. My oldest son is 21 years old. He lives with us. He does contribute to the bills. This is one of the things that he enjoys watching for his anime, I think. That's one of the bills that's under our auto pay subscription, and that was $9.99. Auto pay line item, I guess, actually. So we only have 4 transactions here that we need to account for, or 4 categories rather. So we have auto pay, spending, eating out, and grocery. There were no bills that came out this week. Most of our bills come out in the first couple weeks of the month. So very, very low key. So adding this up and highlighting everything is going to go super quick, which is why I decided just to combine my budget videos this week. So I do have some highlighters here that I'm going to use. We'll use red, yellow, purple is dried out. I need to just go ahead and get rid of that because I keep forgetting. We'll do blue and this sort of minty green. So for auto pay, we'll do the minty green. And I'm just going to highlight and add as I go. So for ESPN Plus, it's $10.99 plus $9.99 for a total of $20.98. Very good this week. All right, for spending, I will use this yellow. And we just had the one transaction at $32.06. Eating out, we did 2 transactions, so I'll use red for that. There's no rhyme or reason to the colors, just kind of whatever I grab. $13.28 plus $20.45, so $33.73. Full disclosure, we did have one other eating out transaction this week, but my son offered to pay for us, so that's awesome. Very kind of him. $33.73. And then lastly, we had our groceries of $193.70. So yeah, very low-key spending week this week, which is good because we need to have a couple of low spend weeks in order to meet our budget for the month. So let me add up really quickly everything we spent, and then I will flip to my hybrid budget worksheet and we will check in and see what we have for the last week of the month. So we spent $280.47 this week, is that right? $20.98 plus $32.06 plus $33.73 plus $193.70. Yep, $280 with 47 cents, which is awesome. So I'm going to pull this expense tracker right out of my budget binder here, or budget book, whatever you call it, budget planner, and I'm going to flip to my hybrid budget for the month, and we're going to use that information to fill in week 4. So I don't have anything to add to the monthly section because all of our bills for the month have been paid. I won't check in with this monthly section again until the end of the month when all of our variable categories are completely added up. So we're just going to flip to week 4, which I said was the 19th through the 25th, or 26th. Okay, on my rough draft I wrote the 25th, and on my expense tracker here I wrote the 26th. So which is it? Let me take a look at my calendar. So it's actually the 25th. The 26th starts the new week. So we didn't have any transactions on the 25th, so didn't really matter. All right, so the categories then that we're going to check in with are the same categories that we always use: grocery, eating out, spending, and auto pay. So I'm gonna write those in. And I'm just gonna fill in the amounts that we spent this week. So for grocery, we spent $193.70. For eating out, we spent $33.73. For spending, we spent $32.06. And for auto pay, we spent $20.98. So I need to flip back here to week 3 to see what we had remaining in each of those categories at the end of week 3. So let's see, how can I do this? I'm just gonna pull this page out. I love having this disc bound system because I can easily bind all my pages and keep them all together, but I can pull them out if I need to. So here we go. Now you can see both pages. So for grocery, at the end of last week, we had $568.47 remaining. The start of the month, we started with a $1,600 grocery budget, which I know is very high. Something that I have said many times that I'm going to work on is spending less on groceries. As you can see in week 4, we really tried to uphold that. So $568.47 is what we had remaining at the end of last week. We spent $193.70. So we still have $374.77 remaining in grocery, which is great. Even if we do like a typical week for us, which is, you know, like $334, $365, we'll still come in under budget. However, there are some categories we're already over budget in. So I'm still gonna try to keep my grocery spending in this last week to a minimum if possible, because whatever we have left in our grocery budget then can offset some of the overspending in some of the other categories. That being said, we do have Easter this last week of the month, so we have to buy a whole Easter dinner plus some Easter basket stuff out of that budget. So we'll see how it goes. All right, for eating out, we had, let's see. For eating out, the beginning of the month, we had $500 in our budget. At the end of last week, we had $117.05 remaining. This week, we spent $33.73. So we have $83.32 remaining, which I think is very reasonable. We'll be just fine there. Typically, if we do a lot of eating out, it's either during the work week, but we just got a new fridge for the office, so that shouldn't be a problem. We can take our lunches to work, or it's on the weekend, and because Easter falls on this coming weekend, we probably won't be eating out. So hopefully we'll have some excess in that eating out budget come the end of the month. We'll see. Anything can happen in a week, right? But hopefully we will, because one of the categories we have overspent in is our spending category. We are already over budget in spending. We started out the month with $600 in our spending budget. However, a lot of our spending this month in March has come out of categories that typically would be covered with our sinking funds, but we actually emptied our sinking funds in March, paused saving for like our short-term savings sinking funds in order to focus more on debt in the month of March. And because of that, that spending had to come out of our spending category. And when I was writing my March budget, I didn't really account for that. I didn't up this budget. So we're already over budget for the month. And we did do some more spending in week 4. So we're $65.35 over budget This week we spent $32.06, so that means our amount that we have is still in the negatives. Obviously, it's negative $97.41. So I'm gonna write this in red. So if I can make up that $97.41 in one of these other categories, that would be a really good thing. As long as I'm under budget overall for the month, these categories I don't worry about too much. If I'm over budget in one category but under budget in another, I'm okay with that. Does that make sense? I hope it does. All right, last but not least, we have auto pay. My auto pay budget for the month, like I said, those are all of the little bills that come out automatically from my budget, was $250. The end of last week we had $16.59 remaining, and this week we spent $20.98. So we're going to be over budget in this category as well. And keep in mind, we still have another full week of any spending and anything coming out of auto pay. So it's not a good thing ever to not be at the end of the month and already be over budget. So not the greatest. $20.98. So we are in the negative for this category of $4.39. And I think the reason that this happened is just because of the way the dates fell with my budget. As you saw, I talked about earlier how the first day of April is technically going to be in my March budget just because of how our paychecks fall. That happened in February as well. We had a handful of days in February that were actually part of my March budget. This 27th through the 1st of February were part of my March budget as well. And there were a couple of auto pay things there that came out. So last month in February, we were way under budget in auto pay, but this month, because of the way the dates fell, we're a little bit over. So hopefully that makes sense. All right, so let's go ahead then and pop this back in. We don't need this anymore. And we will really quickly see what we have overall in our variable spending for this last week of the month. So first up, what we spent, $193.70 plus $33.73 plus $32.06 plus $20.98. We spent $280.47 in our variable categories, which I could have gleaned from that expense tracker because we didn't have any bills that came out this week. So all of our spending this week from our expense tracker was in our variable categories. So what do we have remaining then overall? $374.77 plus $83.32 minus the $97.41 that we are over and the $4.39 that we are over. So we have $356.29 remaining overall in our variable categories. That means if we spend, less than this, $356.29 in grocery and eating out, and we don't spend any more in spending or auto pay, we could still come in under budget overall, which is the hope. So it'll be interesting to see how this last week shakes out. I will check in with you guys next week with a March budget closeout and an April budget setup using those new worksheets. So like I said, if you're interested in getting the worksheets at a significant discount, they are printable worksheets. They print on a typical 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, so you don't have to cut your paper down or worry about anything like that. Real easy. It's just a PDF that you can download and print. You can either print them back to back or just as individual worksheets. You can print each page however many times you want. Join my channel membership for the best deal. You can click the join button down below and it'll pop up the little window explaining all of the membership tiers. Like I said, if you just want this 2-page hybrid budget worksheet and the savings challenge, join at the budget buddy tier. If you want all the worksheets because you're extra like me and you like to keep track of absolutely everything, you want the budget bestie tier. If you don't want to join my membership, check out that link for Etsy. Those worksheets will be available starting March 29th. All right, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. That really helps out my channel. Don't forget to subscribe. I post new budgeting and lifestyle content here on my channel every week. I'd love to have you come back, and I will see you next time. Bye, friends.